Hi, friends. Cole and Carolina.
Yo.
We are on
Day 4.
de cuatro.
Cuatro. Yeah.
Cuatro días.
She's such a good Spanish speaker. I love her.
I am. I really seriously want to take Spanish lessons when I'm in Guatemala this fall. I do. So, freedom. That would give me the freedom to speak to so many more people.
Oh, wait a second. We're not talking about freedom today.
Oh,
We're
we're
talking
not.
about pleasure.
I'm always trying to talk about freedom.
It's connected. But
Pleasure. Even better.
pleasure.
Not
Yeah,
even better. It all goes together. They all intertwine.
definitely. So we were talking before about the connection between. We're gonna. How do you say when you're watching a series and they go like on the previous episode of blah blah blah? I don't know.
It's a recap.
It's a recap. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's do a recap. On day 1, we talk about acceptance, right? We need to be clear on where we're standing right now in order to go to where we want to go to, right? Then on day 2, we talk about compassion because in the journey from point A to point B, we're gonna have probably a couple of mess up moments, and for that we're gonna have to bring like all the way here, like compassion, patience, kindness, because probably we're gonna make a little bit mistakes or like detours and stuff like that, right? Day 3, we talk about freedom because once we have acceptance from where we're standing at the moment and the compassion, we're gonna need we're gonna be able to get clear on what we really want. So that's like how can we embody the freedom, the type of life that we really want, and for that we're gonna need boundaries, as we were talking about this yesterday. And now, how can we focus on really getting to live the life that we want? And inviting and being open to pleasure is vital because we tend to focus so much of our love, attention, energy on what's not working, on like all the issues, like all these things, instead of like, how can I get more yumminess into my life? How can I get more of the goodness, the things in my life?
Yeah,
Yeah, that stuff.
Indeed. Focusing on joy, pleasure. I think I brought up the other day. Did I talk about the negativity bias the other day?
Maybe we talk about it having coffee, but I don't know if we did it here.
The negativity bias that we have, we have it due to, like, it's instinctual. Whenever we eat, we need to remember if we're going to eat a poisonous berry and that made us super, super sick, we need to remember that. So it needs to make a deep groove in our brain.
Yeah.
But where like all those luscious ripe mangoes, why we remember that, that's amazing. It's not as ingrained in our system because it's not going to kill us.
It's not survival.
It's not
strategy.
based on survival. Yeah. So like we're built to try to stay alive. So we're intellect over instinct though. So the more that we kind of know that this is happening. So in terms of pleasure, knowing that how affected we are by the negative things, we need to allow ourselves to be just as affected by the pleasurable things to kind of counteract that groove. I think I did maybe talk about this a little bit in compassion.
Yeah.
But it's kind of the same type of thing. It's like allowing yourself not to just be like, oh yeah, this is a really good moment with a friend, or this is a really good ice cream or whatever. It's like take a moment and be like, oh, damn.
Yum.
I love this ice cream. Or like, oh my gosh, Carolina, I really appreciate you. Yeah. And it's really allowing us to be affected and felt sense. Like, how can I sense it? How can I feel it?
Yeah.
Different ways that it shows up in my body.
Yeah, beautiful. It's exactly that, because how can I be fully affected, like washed over by this experience? And we were talking that for us, in order for us to really achieve that moment of like such presence, that we can really be fully affected by the experience we're going through, in this case, like having a delicious ice cream or having a really yummy, profound conversation with a friend that we really like how they think, for example. The best way, or like the way that we both really resonate with, is to be back into your body, to drop back into our bodies, because it's so, we usually as humans in this society, we just live here in our head, like this is our like experience of life, but like we forget about the rest of our body. So the best way to do that is to just go back into our body by using our 5 senses. So the invitation for today is to do a little exercise on sensuality. And people tend to associate sensuality only with sex. But sensuality means using your senses in every moment of the day, so you can be more present, and therefore you can enjoy more this life, this yummy life that we live, and be more grateful and more connected, etc. So the little exercise that we want to share with you today is to just find 5 minutes, sit down comfortably, take a couple of like really grounding breaths, and just start going through the senses, like what can I hear around me?
Why don't we do it?
Ooh, let's do it. Okay.
Yeah? Let's do it.
Amazing. Okay, let's close our eyes. Take a big breath in. And exhale and ground. Couple more from your belly. Inhale. And exhale. Last one. Take a sigh out loud if you want. Beautiful. And let's start with the sense of smell. What can you smell now around you? Maybe the soap that you had a shower with today, or perfume, your own sweat, the laundry powder, some essential oil that Cole just put on.
Patchouli.
Whatever it is, enjoy that and be present to it. Now let's try our skin. If you want, you can start using your fingers to feel a little bit of your skin, or just sit there and feel the breeze, a fan, the aircon, or just the air touching your skin. Maybe if you're sitting watching this video, you can touch, you can sense with your buttocks the surface you're sitting on. You can sense this fabric that you're wearing against your skin. Be really present to your whole body. Now, what taste do you have in your mouth right now? I can taste the coffee and the food that I had before. Whatever it is, maybe it's just your own saliva, it tastes sweet. Just enjoy that. Now, what can you hear around you? Did we go through that one? No. What can you hear around you? Here we can hear some insects, the jungle sounds, construction noise actually. Valley life.
Bali hammers.
The aircon machine.
Cicadas.
Yeah, they're mating. You told me that. Yeah, just be present to the sounds around you right now. Birds. And to finish, I know that you have your eyes closed, but what's the image that is right there? We all have a movie playing up all the freaking time. What's the image for you inside? And slowly, slowly open the eyes and let yourself be affected by what's around you. Right now, I'm in Cole's room and colors are so bright. Beautiful whites and greens and the camera. So that's usually should take you 5 minutes to go through this exercise of going through all the senses and be like, I'm here. I can taste, I can smell, I can hear, I can touch.
Yeah, it's also showing appreciation for like that experience. Like in this moment, I'm going to fully experience this moment. What is happening in this moment? Like, oh, thank you, I can smell.
Yeah.
Thank you, I can hear. Yeah, It's beautiful. And we do similar things, like, when we're grounding into the present moment, because all of this requires presence, which is like my word of 2019.
Presence?
Yes. It's funny because I teach it a lot. I'm often like, you always hear that you teach what you need.
Yeah.
I'm always like, ground into the moment, blah, blah, blah.
Present
I'm like
to the
talking
present.
to myself. Y'all have to know that I'm talking to myself because I'm like a squirrel.
I can attest to that. And I'm the same.
And just coming into now, appreciating the moment,
They're right here, right now.
Yeah.
Instead of like, that's the thing, we live usually like in the future, getting all anxious about it, or in the past, getting all like guilty and depressed about it. And my passion is to live a yummier life. Like, that's my motto, right? And what I like to teach and coach people around. So, I feel like we can live like a way better, more joyful, yummier life if we were always present in our experience. I battle with that so much. I'm always in my head. Like, I'm not like, oh my God, I'm so enlightened. Like, no, I'm like usually in my head. And I had to go through all these little exercises and processes because that allows me to be more present. That brings more pleasure in my life, even in and out of bed. You can like amplify your receptivity by doing these type of things, like really grounding, really using your body, really being present, using your senses, allowing yourself to explore your sensuality. I always invite everyone to, if they want to invite more pleasure in their lives, to really know their bodies, how their bodies work. Like, okay, how do I like to be touched? Do I like to be like softly caressed, thank you? Or do I like to be like grabbed, like, like maybe using the nails, like really explore your body. Not just, again, for the bed purposes, but for everything in life. Like maybe with a friend, how do you like to be held and soothed? Or,
what about in terms of like types of fabric that you like?
Oh
Like,
my
this
God,
is my
yes.
favorite type of fabric.
Yeah.
Or my favorite smells. Like, I'm really into essential oils. I'm always smelling on something like, this smell makes me happy.
Right.
Or it makes me calm. Or it makes me
grounds me when
grounded.
I'm anxious.
That's nice.
Yeah.
It smells like Christmas, kind of.
No, what's that? Like nutmeg or something.
Yeah.
Cinnamon.
Fir, orange, clove, cinnamon.
Cloves and cinnamon.
Nutmeg.
I got it. Oh my God, I got it right.
So really exploring like what is going to be good for all of these, for my ears. What type of music do you like? What type of and just like treating your senses. Like, I'm going to treat my ears. I'm going to treat my eyes. Things that are delicious.
Oh, I love that concept because that's the thing. Like, living a more pleasurable life. It's about that. That's where the goal resides. Where you can treat yourself every time that you feel like you want to do that. Like, oh, I'm gonna listen to this really yummy playlist that makes me feel like cozy or relaxed or grounded or like. It's exactly the same thing that you were saying, but I feel like we usually don't pay attention to that, so we don't bring more of that to our lives. We don't have the music that we like. We don't have, the books that we like.
Is it about taking time for it?
Being like an active researcher of the things that bring us joy and pleasure, and doing more of that, proactively doing more of that in our lives.
And you could probably speak to this some of being receptive, but feeling deserving of pleasure. Like, that we deserve. The one thing I can say about this is, like, I've been a massage therapist for a really long time, and especially in the West, it's like, it's a luxury. It's such a luxury thing that some people have blocks against spending money on doing things for themselves.
Yeah, makes sense.
That it's just over the top or pampering or something like that. There's not deserving.
Yeah.
I don't have that block. I get all kinds of massages. I was a massage therapist for a really long time, so I've given thousands of massages, and I'm always like, I'll be damned if I'm not getting every one of them back. So that's what I'm doing.
Wow.
That's what I'm doing here in Asia. Like, at least every couple days.
That's what I was thinking. Like, if
you
you have any
it's
blog,
affordable, very affordable.
if you have any blog around like the serving, you lose it pretty quickly here in Bali because you're like, massages are affordable. They're everywhere around you. You cannot say no. You have like 10 Balinese saying like massage. You're like, okay, let's do that.
I still have I still know a lot of friends though that they're
really
like
here?
that they don't get that many. They're like, it's still caught into their head some conditioning that it's they're not deserving, or it's not. They don't see it as a need. Pleasure seems to be something that is extra. So it's like, but pleasure then balances out all of these other things. Or what do you have to say about being deserving of pleasure and then making time for it?
I think that's such a vital element of really loving yourself when you, one, become aware of the things that bring you pleasure. Again, we were talking yesterday about the boundaries and non-negotiables for us to live a life of freedom and the life that we truly want. So how can we be, how can we be always proactive around inviting and bringing and being more receptive of the things that we want? That solidifies our self-love. Really, when you are like, okay, I like this music, I like, especially in relationships and with yourself, both with yourself and with relationships, you need to know have those things clear with yourself. So self-love is there, present, solid, strong. And then when you are interacting with another human, especially in a romantic setting, you can communicate those things. So you can like give each other that pleasure, that joy, that yumminess, right? And be receptive to really receive it because it's super hard. And that's what I have to say. But in regards being always active on seeking and bringing to your life experience every day, I feel that's important because in the Western society, people are like, oh, a way to receive pleasure is massages, pedicures, everything that costs money, and not necessarily that. It can be like just giving, like right now, like a food massage to yourself, or like having really nice sheets.
Food. Most of us have those certain things that I'm a total foodie that you're just like,
oh my God,
like
mangoes. Oh my God,
the mangoes here right now are out of control. We have, all the fruit here is delicious, but I think it's mango season right now.
I think it's starting.
I mean, it's kind of funny to talk about fruit seasons here. It seems like isn't it always in season? We're on the equator, but there is certain seasons for certain things. But
you made me remember this story. Like, I don't know why I was thinking about this, but the very first time that I had awareness of what gives me pleasure, I was 7 years old or 8 years old or something like that, and I was in this summer camp I was in nun school. And I know.
She used to wear pebbles in her shoes.
Oh my God, I can't believe you're sharing that.
She put pebbles in her shoes to keep her humble or something.
To feel more pain so I could give that pain to God. That's what I was taught. Yeah. Full on stuff. I was like, cool.
Overshare?
That's why we're friends. It's cool. No, I love talking about this stuff. So I was in nun school in summer camp or summer holiday thing.
How old?
I was 7 or 8, I think.
You go to nun school when you're that young? Or is it's like summer camp? Or is it to be a nun?
So
Because I went to like church camp.
No, I went to like only girls nun school, like from like, I don't know the equivalent for that in English, but I guess I was like 7 or 8 until like 11, and then I went to like a proper nun school to become a nun for like a year and a half. Wow. And then I went back to the all girls school. Anyway, that's not the point of the story.
I didn't know that.
The point of the story is that, the nuns were very strict, and of course nothing was leaning towards pleasure in our lives. It was the opposite, leaning towards pain, because we could give that pain to God and be more humble and whatever. Anyway, so it was summer. In Chile, we have the most beautiful, help me with this word, it's a funny one for me, peach, yeah, that one.
Peaches.
Imagine the most delicious peach in your life, like all ripe and juicy. Okay, so 7 years old me, I was in the pool, like literally in the pool, having a peach, and I remember doing this, and the juice started like going all the way down, and I was like, oh my God, this is delicious, and I started doing this. Like for a long while, eating the whole thing, and then I was covered in juice, and I was like, and then a nun comes and she's like, you cannot do that. Like she really scolded me about it. She was like, you cannot do that. That's not okay to do. Like, that's not okay to do. You need to eat properly and then use a serviette to clean yourself. Like, that's not okay. And I was like, but why? That was so yummy to lick my own forearm
covered in
the pool, covered in like peach juice.
That is a difficult word.
It's so hard for me. Anyway, so that was my first experience of pleasure. And I realized that, for example, I love eating fruit, ripe fruit. I love being covered in like fruit juice.
I say often, I'm like, I need it to be dripping. Like I need to like have to lean over when I eat it. Yeah, if it's like just dripping like this, then it's
Or
it's
I remember like being a kid and going to the ocean and then getting out of the ocean, laying there in the sun, the most delicious feeling ever. It's like drying up with the sun, and then you have all this salt in your skin, and you go and you're like, oh my God, it tastes so good. You know, like little things like that. They don't cost money. That you should be like, well, I mean, no, you should. Like, my invitation is to be like a very curious researcher, like what brings you pleasure that is present every day, everywhere. Maybe it's like going to the bus stop that has this beautiful graffiti every day, and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe they did that. You know, whatever it is, like pleasure is always present, sensuality is always present.
The last couple nights I've taken some walks. We get used to everything. We get used to beautiful things. We get used to we get used to pain as well, emotional, all these things we get used to. But I'm realizing I'm living in absolute paradise. Every time I look out my window, it's just so gorgeous. But I'm trying to, like I was saying, let myself be affected by it. So I've been taking more walks lately. So the last couple nights around sunset, I'll go out.
Sunset was epic last night.
Yeah, I'll go out and I'll walk around and I'll really see all of these plants and all the suns and all the different places. There's all these tiny little pathways back here that I don't know if I could ever walk all these little paths in Finistone. I went on a really cool adventure last night. I didn't bring my phone, and just some really tiny little paths, and just being like, wow, and allowing myself to just be in awe of things and not, I guess, taking it for granted.
Being affected.
Another thing that I was going to say is that, the exploration of pleasure is so vital, because like how many things out there do you absolutely love and you don't know yet?
Right? Exactly. I love that.
There's food out there that's my favorite food that I haven't tasted yet.
Yeah.
And there are places that I haven't been or that are my favorite place on earth.
How exciting is that?
It's so exciting. So it's keeping that attitude of like curiosity, and even down to like the small, minute things.
Yeah.
So
everyday stuff.
That's what I got.
Yeah, I love it. It's so true. So I guess please share in your comments, what brings you pleasure? Like, what have you done in your little research and come up with like, okay, this really gives me pleasure, or I really would like to bring more of this in my life every day. So share it in the comments so we can have a good time sharing that.
And one more thing, some things I think that we know bring us pleasure. So there's that camp of the things that we know that bring us pleasure. Maybe we need to give it re-attention to. We need to like reignite that experience.
Yeah.
And then some things we don't know yet, so we have to explore. So I invite you to share some things that you do know that bring you pleasure, and then maybe some things like
be more curious about. I would like to explore this or that.
Because then maybe we can all share on those. So.
Yeah, I love it. Okay. See you tomorrow.
Lots of love.